All right, well, everybody, welcome. It is 2 o'clock, so here's what we're going to do today. We're going to start off with a little bit of housekeeping business. Most of you have found the chat window. That is a great place for you to put comments, ideas. If we say something that just blows your mind, you can just be like, wow, in the chat. That's perfect. That's an awesome place for that. If you have questions, those go into the Q&A box, and I'd like to thank my coworker Suwan, who is here to help me answer all those questions so that I can just keep on going with our webinar. So I appreciate that, Suwan. Thank you for being here. And I want to thank everybody else for being here as well, spending a little bit of your afternoon with us. Today we are going to go into a Getting Started with Book Creator webinar. So we're going to talk about all of the wonderful features of Book Creator. So again, Q&A, go into the Q&A. If you are watching us on live on YouTube, then you can certainly put comments into the comment box. And if I don't look over here every once in a while and look at it, Suwan will go ahead and let me know what's going on there on the YouTube channel. I don't know why, but I can't stop watching and looking over here at myself. I have the YouTube channel up over here just so I can see what's going on. But it's weird because it's like a 30-second delay. So as I say something over here and I look over here, I can see myself saying it again. So still trying to get used to the weirdness of that. But anyway, I would like to welcome everybody. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Jon Smith. I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. I am Jon Smith at bookcreator.com. So if you have any questions afterwards, you can reach out to me on Twitter or at the email address below. I taught special ed for 12 years. I was a technology integration specialist for 7, and now I am the teacher success manager here at Book Creator. So what does that mean? A little bit of everything. Webinars, trainings, conferences, when that was a thing, support, inspiration, anything you can think of, sales, we're here to help you, and I'm here to help you with that. But my main goal is to make sure that teachers are comfortable with using Book Creator in their classrooms so that students can make amazing digital books. All right. I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 9, 6, and 3. Got a bad case of the coronavirus haircut going on right here. And I love golf and I love clean cars. So anybody that's within driving distance of Ohio, just bring your dirty cars my way and I'll be happy to detail those for you. So like I mentioned, today's webinar is going to be a deep dive into Book Creator. Again, we are live on YouTube, so if things feel like they're going a little bit fast, don't worry. The YouTube video link will be live on YouTube, probably half an hour, 45 minutes or so after the webinar is over. So if you need to go back and reference that video, you can certainly do that. And we have lots of other great videos on there as well. All right. So let's go ahead and jump on into Book Creator. The first thing that I would like to talk to you about is the login page. So to get to Book Creator, if you are a student or a teacher, you need to go to app.bookcreator.com. So app.bookcreator.com. And when you go here, the first thing that pops up automatically is the student sign in. So I know teachers, you get super excited about things. You just want to click. Restrain yourselves for a second. When you get to this website, you got to make sure, because the student sign in button is right here on the left and the teacher sign in button is on the right. So you will always be teachers, right? Even if you're joining somebody else's library, which we'll talk about later, you are still a teacher. So you are never a student, right? Click teacher and then sign in with Google, Office, email, or Clever. Students, on the other hand, are always students. So they need to click on a student tab and then click Google, Office. Whoop, I hit the wrong button there. Google. I have no Office account, so now I'm in trouble. What did I just do here? I just hosed my thing here. Hang on a second. So app.bookcreator.com. I got excited and clicked something. So students can sign in with Google, Office, QR code, or Clever. All right. So again, just remember, students are always students. Teachers are always teachers. Every once in a while, we'll get a student that signs in as a teacher accidentally or by fault. Hopefully it's accidentally. And if that is the case, then just let us know and we'll be happy to help fix that. But we have worked very hard with privacy for schools, states, even entire countries. And when students sign in as teachers, then it violates that work that we have worked so hard to accomplish. So please make sure your students don't do that. When you do sign up for the very first time, Book Creator is going to ask you a few questions. It's going to ask you what you teach, what grade level, maybe a few other little things. And then it's going to ask you to create your very own library. Now, at this point, it doesn't really matter what you want that library to be called. Just name it something so that you can get started. And once you do that, it's going to look very similar to like what you see here on the screen, minus the books. All right, you're just going to have an empty library. It'll say, you know, Swan's library or demo library or whatever it is, math class, you know, whatever. And then it's just going to have an empty shelf, no books. So what I want to do is I want to bring your attention to the top left. At the top left, there are these three lines. A couple weeks ago, somebody called it a hamburger menu, and now I can't stop calling it a hamburger menu. So you're going to click on the hamburger menu, and that's going to take you to your teacher dashboard. So your teacher dashboard is where all of your libraries live. So depending on the plan that you have, you can have anywhere from one library to unlimited libraries. And this is where those will be housed. You will see on the teacher dashboard that the first library that is already built for you is one called My Books. And the My Books library is locked. That library is locked for a reason. It is really just your rough draft space, a place for you to try things out without the fear of students joining your library or you accidentally sharing books that you didn't want to share, things like that. This is really just your safe play zone. All right, so that's what I want you to think about that as. Then, depending on the plan that you have, you can create a new library or more. All right, and that new library that you create will be a library that you can share with students, invite others into, publish books, things like that. Okay, so the way you do that, to create a new library, just click the button that says create a new library, give it a name, and then you're going to turn on or off these features, which we'll go into more depth in just a little bit. And then down at the bottom, there is another section called Shared with Me. And the Shared with Me section is the libraries that you can join. All right, so as a teacher, you can join other people's libraries and see the books that are in there. And to join somebody else's library, just scroll down to where it says Join a Library, click on that button, and enter the invite code. And that will get you into the library. And I'll show you where that invite code is in just a second. All right, the other thing that I wanted to bring your attention to here is this tab that says Resources. The Resources tab is great. There are books written by students and by teachers for all grade levels, sorted by grade level. And then there are books and resources made by teachers and students by subject area. So if you're a phys ed teacher and you're sitting there thinking, how can I use Book Creator? Click on the phys ed section and you'll find some stuff. Same thing, social studies, science, math, English, language arts, everything. Think about the ways that you can use Book Creator in your classroom. And then if you scroll even further down, we do have this wonderful section of books written by our Book Creator ambassadors. And so these are phenomenally illustrated and designed books with lots of great content. I highly recommend checking these out. There is just an abundance of information in these books. All right, and if you scroll even further down, we have a Facebook page and some other tools that you could use, along with links to our future webinars, all right, which are always great. All right, I'm gonna go back to our library tab. Another thing you can do with libraries in this screen here is you can archive libraries. So if I have this personal library here and I'm done with it, I need to move on to something else, or I need to free up some books, I click the three dots and say Archive Library, and it will go away. Those archived libraries are up here to the right in this little like boxy looking area with the arrow. So you can always see your archived libraries. You can always click on them and you can always see which books are in there. And if you want, you can restore the entire library or delete it forever, or you can restore an individual book by copying it to a new, copying it to your My Books private area. All right. So that is the teacher dashboard. All right. Suan, do we have any questions that need to be addressed yet?
No, I think we're okay at the moment.
All right. Moving on. So let's go ahead and get in here. So this is our library. And when you create your very first library, there are really a couple of different options that you can do. One, you can invite your students into this library. And so you're going to click this blue code right here. It says invite code. Click on that and it gives you a code that allows you to invite students to your library. Now, don't use this code. This code will expire after this webinar and it's not meant for you to get in there and mess around. But this is what it would look like if you invited your students. All right, so you get a code and then they join your library. When students are in your library, they have two options. They can either click this button that says plus new book, and this is how they can create a book inside your library. You have three different book choices here at the top. These are our standard books. They do not have the comic book options, so you cannot choose panels, stickers, comic text if you choose those styles. And then down below, we have three comic book choices, and those do allow you to use the comic book features. I do tend to get some confusion, I think, a little bit with teachers on this one and with students. Looking at this page, a student or a teacher may say, I don't want to make a comic book, right? And because they have this mental perception of what a comic book is. And then they just choose one of the top row, but then they get finished with the book and they want to know where the stickers are. So the stickers and comic stuff is only available down here on this bottom row. So even if you don't use a comic book or you don't make a comic book, you can still use the comic book style so that you get some of those comic book features. All right. So for me personally, every time I make a book, it's down here, landscape comic, every single time. More real estate, and I get the comic features. All right. So I'm going to back out of that there. Another option for your students, so if you don't want them to create their own individual books, you could create a book for them and then invite students to make a copy of that book. So this right here is our big book creator activity book. It's got about 50, 60 different activities in it that students can complete. But in order for them to complete it, they'll have to make a copy. So if they click this icon underneath the book that looks like 3 books, click on that and say copy book. And what the student will do is make an exact copy in the same library. So they're going to click make a copy in the June webinar library, and they will be able to then have an exact copy of the original that they can edit, but they won't mess up the original. All right, so that's another way students can make books is by copying one of the teacher books and then editing it. And then the other way that students can work on a book is by having the teacher turn on collaboration. So if I click this share button underneath and this button that says collaborate, I then have the ability to turn on real-time collaboration inside that book. By default, it's set up so that everyone in your library, that everybody that joins your library has the ability to edit that book. If that scares you and you don't want that, click this change button, and then you can actually choose which students are able to collaborate on that book. So whether you want 1, 2, 10, 20, you can choose which students get to collaborate on that book. The collaboration piece is part of our paid plans, but right now we are giving away 90 days of collaboration. So if you choose to play with our free plan, you do get a 90-day trial of collaboration. All right, so let's get into Book Creator here and let's actually take a look and see what it is all about. All right, so once I'm inside of a book, there are 2 really important buttons that you need to be aware of and that your students need to be aware of. The plus button to the top right and the I button right next to it. The plus button allows you to add content. The I button allows you to change that content. So with the plus button, we have media, comics, and shapes. We're going to start with shapes and we're going to work our way up to some of the other features. So with shapes, we have 9 different shapes to choose from. I'm going to click on one and it adds it to my page. I can click and drag that shape around. I can click the blue dots and change the size of the shape. And with the green dot on this one, I can make it more rounded or more square or somewhere in between. Then from here, after I'm done moving it around, I could even double click inside the shape. I don't know what I just typed there. That was weird. I can type inside that shape. And so now essentially I've made a kind of a fancy looking text box, but it's really just a shape. So I have my shape. When I click on it one time, it highlights in blue. I can then hit the inspector button. And when I hit the inspector button, I can change the color of the shape. I can add a shadow behind it. I can turn on border. If I choose to turn on the border, I can then change the border color. I can change the border width. And then I can even change the text settings. So I can change it to different fonts. I like Open Dyslexic, font specifically for dyslexic students. I can change the color of the text, and I can drag the slider and change the size of the text. So I have seen some teachers do some pretty cool things with shapes. I've seen timelines, graphic organizers, mind maps. I've seen teachers use it as answer documents, right? Like, so I might uh, have a question or a video on the left-hand side of the page, and then on the right-hand side of the page, I've got all these boxes that I need the student to fill in, right, with answers. So I've seen teachers use it for that. I have seen teachers use the shapes with text in it as commenting features. So maybe I'll put it over here to the side. So a student has work on the page, and then on the side, the teacher leaves comments for the student. So they can say, here's how your work went, here's my feedback for you. All right, so we don't have a commenting feature like Google Docs does. So teachers have found an easy way around that by making shapes and putting some text inside those shapes. All right, so that's shapes. Next, media. So under the media category, there is a lot going on. The very first one is the import button. And when I click on the import button, the first option that pops up is a Google image search. So if I type in an image here, I'm going to choose one of the dogs that we like here. We'll go with this one and hit select. And now that image gets added to my page. And once it's added to my page, I can click on it, I can resize it, I can move it around, and I can rotate it. All right, so there we go with our images. Couple things to note. Google images that you find in that Google image search are all safe search images. They are the safest images that Google allows. They are all labeled for commercial reuse with modification, and they are all labeled as non-attribution. So these are about as safe as images as you can find, all right? The other thing that you can do with the images is once it's clicked and outlined in blue, if I click the inspector button, we have two blank boxes here. The first, I could put a website in. So when people are reading my book, they click on the dog and it takes them to a website. Or I could put in a number. And so when people are reading our book, they click on the dog and it takes them to page 10. So in this instance, for example, I'm thinking choose your own adventure books, right? John went to the pet store, saw a dog and a goldfish, couldn't decide which one was he going to buy. If you bought the dog, click on a dog, takes you to page 10. If you buy the goldfish, click on a goldfish, takes you to page 7. All right, so you can do some choose your own adventure stories. And then the second box is the alternative text. All right, and I think this is a very important box. When I'm talking to my students about writing for a global audience, we want our books to be read by the most people possible. And that includes people with visual impairments. So when somebody with visual impairments is clicking the play button and having the book read to them, normally it would just gloss over all of these images. But with accessibility text turned on, and I put in something like white fluffy dog on a deck, now not only will the book read the page, but it will also read the images. So I think this is hugely important. Again, when you're talking about publishing books to a global audience with your students, having the most people possible be able to read your book is very important. All right. Let's take a look over here. Nothing on YouTube yet. Suwan, any questions that we need to address?
We have a couple. I don't know, you might be coming around to these soon anyway. So one of them is, can you connect shapes with arrows?
So yeah, so that's a great question. So can you connect shapes with arrows? So yeah, you know, here's the thing. This is where I'm gonna probably fall on my face just a little bit. I am not a designer. I don't have any kind of design sense whatsoever. But for example, if I took this rounded rectangle, all right, and maybe I make it more square, and then I take this arrow shape, I could change the shape of the arrow, right, to match the color of the rectangle. And now I can move them so that they look like they're one shape. All right, so if that, I hope that's what you were asking. If it is, then great, I answered it. If not, I'm sorry, we'll have to clarify. But you can connect things that way. So we do not have a grouping feature, if that's what you're getting at. So if I took like an arrow and I hit like shift and click on the box? Can I group them and move them at the same time? We don't have that ability. So you just kind of have to move things in parts right now. Definitely something I'll take to the engineering team, but you can combine shapes like that. Hopefully that's what you were asking.
John, another one was, can you show people what comic features are?
Yeah, so I will show you the comic features. We will definitely get to those here in a little bit. So yes, keep that one in the back of your minds. We will definitely get into those comic features. All right.
Great. Okay. Sorry, John. Just
Nope.
one more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the answer to this. Is there a way to search for images with transparent backgrounds?
Great question. So if I go to the plus button and click media import, and I go to this Google image search, I'm going to type in, we'll go with dog. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. I would say dog, and then I would put in PNG. And if I search dog PNG, then these images that I choose, we'll go with, let's go with this. That one looks like it has an image. We'll go with this one. Hit select. And if I choose, once this image is uploaded, you'll see that the background is gone, right? So as I move this dog off the screen here, you'll see that this dog image is there is no background. Okay, so searching PNG is one way. Another way that I've found, which is kind of cool, most people don't notice this. They just they search dog and they hit go, right? They hit search and then they start looking at all their images. But over here to the left, there's a little drop down that allows you to choose what type of dog image you want. Do you want dog faces? Do you want dog photos, clip art, line drawing? So for me, I would say either clip art or line drawing, most likely clip art. So if you choose clip art, those images then will not have a background to them. So when I add that to the page, there's no background. I think that's a great question. For me, there's nothing more disgusting in a page than just like a big nice blue background and then a person here with a white background, and so you have this like nice blue background with like a beach or something on it, and then a guy that you want on the beach, and it's just a white square around the person. So great question. All right, plus button, media. Still under import, the next one is a Google map. So we have the ability to put in a Google map. So again, you can put in addresses, locations, whatever. So if I just zoom in here on Ohio a little bit, which is where I'm at. Oops, that's the ocean. Let's get back over here to Ohio. Where are we at? Oh, I got too far. Here we go. All right, there's Pittsburgh. We're getting closer to Ohio. All right, there's Ohio. I live over here in Canton. So I can zoom in on Canton a little bit, and then I can say satellite view and add that to the map. So I just hit select, and now that map is part of my book. This is another good opportunity to pull in your shapes. So if I go to my shapes and an arrow, I can label this and say that I live right there. All right, so there's where I live. Actually, it's on this side of the road. It's right there. There we go. So you can label. I've seen historic timelines using maps. I've seen teachers, even if you zoomed in a little bit further, you could even do geometry on rooftop shapes. There's so many things you can do with Google Maps. So definitely encourage you to check that out. Plus button, media, import. The next one is files. So with files, you can pull in files from your computer. So you can pull in photos, video, audio, PDFs. You can pull those in. And what's really nice about those is that when I click on something and hit open, it adds that PDF to the page. Now it adds it as a PDF icon. It's not going to take your PDFs and magically turn them into Book Creator books, but it does add a PDF to the page. And from here, I can click on it. And what I can see then is it is a page that I can scroll through and read different things on. So that's helpful. I've seen teachers, put a document on the left and then say, read this document and answer some questions over here on the right, or demonstrate your learning by making a page over here. So there's a lot of things you can do with that, but it's a really great way to import other types of files into your book. So that's PDFs. There is also, under the plus button, media import, a Google Drive button. And so if you connect yourself to your Google Drive, then you can pull in files such as PDFs, documents, slideshows, audio, photos, video. It will not take a Google Doc and turn it into an ebook, but you can embed the Google Doc right inside your book, which is really cool. And then the last one under the plus button, media import, is the embed feature. And with the embed feature, you can take content from other sources and embed those directly into the book. So the easiest one is YouTube. So if I just go to YouTube and we can embed our YouTube video that we're watching right now, that would be Wiggy, right? We could do that. But I'm going to click on this car washing video right here.
Now that you've seen the Carvana app,
Oops, I'm going to stop that. So once you choose your YouTube video, underneath the video, there is a share button. So when I click on share, there is an embed code button right here. It says embed. So if you click on that, you can see the video, but then you can also see this code, which means absolutely nothing to me. So I'm going to copy that code. I'm going to go back to my book and I'm going to paste it right here in this empty box. And when I paste that code and confirm the link, I can see the video, I see the link, and I see the title. And then I say add to book. What's amazing about this is that when you add this video to your book this way, and I click play, all right, so there you go. What's nice about this is no commercials at the beginning, no commercials at the end, no comments underneath, and none of that sidebar on the right-hand side, which is where kids get lost for days. So the embed feature is awesome. One of our books written by Dan Kemp is all about embedding embedding content from other sources into Book Creator. So YouTube videos, Desmos calculators, Vimeo, Flipgrid, Soundtrap files, Padlet, Explain Everything, Powtoon, Google Poly, basically anything that you can think of that has an embed code will allow you to paste that into here and add it to your book. So that becomes really awesome. All right, so that's the embed feature. All right. Swan, how are we doing? Any questions about any of that stuff?
We have 2 requests. Someone would like you to show them once more how you change the orientation in space of a shape. I'm guessing, I'm not quite sure what that means.
Okay, yeah, good question. So I think I know where you're going with this one. And so real quick, this is kind of a sticky point. So with this shape particularly, there is a green button that makes it more rounded or more square. We do not, at this moment, have a rotate feature. So I cannot take this shape and rotate it. I can add other shapes to it, but I can't rotate it. As a matter of fact, the only shape that allows you to rotate right now would be the arrow or the line, because you can make the line straight or you can move it around upside down, but you cannot rotate a triangle or a square or even a star or anything like that right now. So hopefully that helped answer that question.
And the other question, John, about this section was Heather wondered if you could show them once again how to embed a video.
Yep. So if I go to YouTube and I just find my YouTube video that I want, underneath the YouTube video, there is a share button. So if I click share, there's a whole bunch of little buttons here, but the one you want to focus on is this one on the left that says embed. And when I click embed, it gives you this big code that doesn't mean anything to me. Just highlight it, copy it, and then you go back to your book and you go to that embed feature button and click paste. And you just paste it right there where it says embed code. Paste it underneath, confirm the link, add to book, and now you've got that book, the video embedded directly into your book. Great questions. Next, media. The next one down is the camera. So we've got 2 options for camera. We've got still pictures. Click use, and that picture goes in there. And again, same rules apply. You can resize, move around with the pictures. You can rotate. I can even click the inspector button again, hyperlink it to a website or a page, or add accessibility text. And then the other option under the media camera is to record a video. So if I click record video, it gives you a little countdown. Get out that last burp. Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Click use video, and now that video gets uploaded to your page. What's nice about this is, again, you can resize it, move it around. You cannot rotate the videos, but you can change the video size just by moving things around. But then if you hit the inspector button, we do have the ability now to add captions. So you can add captions in 120 different languages. It will not translate English into 120 languages. But what it will do is if I speak English and turn on English captions and click generate, it will automatically generate captions. So if I speak Spanish, it will generate captions in Spanish. So I'm going to click generate. It's going to give you these little bouncing dots, tell you it's going to take about 30 seconds to a minute to do this. You do not have to watch this. You can actually click back and get out of here and continue working in your book. You don't have to watch the dots. Once it's done, there will be a little message that pops up here at the bottom left telling you that it is done and that your captions are ready. Sorry, I have to rotate myself just like one of those shapes. All right. So once once it's ready, you'll see that button pop up. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk myself through this. There it is. Good. Every time I move on to something else, then the captions are ready. So there's my caption. I click play. Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. All right, there you go. So the captions are already on the video, and I just think that's really amazing. Again, another great accessibility feature. If you have people who are hearing impaired and they can't hear the video, they can at least read the captions that go with it. All right, so that's a great feature. Not only does it work with videos that you take directly from Book Creator, but it also works with videos that you upload to Book Creator. So if you took it on your phone, got the video to your computer, uploaded it to your book, it will then also add those captions in if you choose to do so. The only ones it won't do are YouTube videos. It will not caption YouTube videos because those should be captioned already through there. All right, plus button, media. The next one down is the pen tool. Absolutely love the pen tool. So if I click on my dot over here, I can choose different colors. Everybody's favorite is down here at the bottom. These are the magic inks. So as I'm drawing, the inks automatically change color. Your kids will go bananas over this. They love the magic ink. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go back and choose a regular color here for a second. I'm going to go to our brushes. We have a pen, a brush, a crayon, a highlighter. So fairly standard stuff right here. But then we have this one that says auto. Now, if you've ever asked your students to draw something, if they're above about 5th or 6th grade, chances are they're not going to be happy with you. If they're still okay in that decision mode, they definitely won't be happy with you when you say you have to draw using a trackpad, because drawing on a trackpad is probably one of the worst technological experiences on the planet. And I'm going to demonstrate that by trying to draw a bike on the trackpad. So as I'm drawing my bike, I'm already upset because my bike tires are not the same size. They look like deformed donuts. And my bike, I'm not sure if it's a bike or one of those like pack and rolls or whatever it is. But with auto draw at the top of the screen, it tries to tell you what it is that you're drawing. So is it a tractor? Is it a muscle man? Is it a drum set? Is it a binoculars? Or is it a bike? Oh, it's a bike right here. So I click bike, and it fixes my drawing. And so now I have this amazing bike. I click the X box, I get rid of it. Maybe I go back here and choose some different colors. Maybe I go to the fill bucket and I start filling this in. And now I've got this magic ink bike, which is phenomenal. Maybe I add some emojis in here, right? So go to an emoji. I'm going to make this back tire an emoji back tire. Now it looks like a Tour de France bike. I'm going to hit done. And now I have this really amazing bike that I can resize, move around the screen, and rotate, make it pop wheelies. All right, so that is the magic ink, auto draw, the pen tool, amazing stuff. You can even use the pen tool to highlight words that are on the page, draw arrows, different things. If you click the plus button, media and pen tool again, there is the emoji section. And I just want to briefly share with emojis. So let's say I'm doing a report on sharks. So instead of going to Google and trying to find all of these random images of sharks, I could just use some emojis and just make them a little bit bigger. And now, instead of these goofy things that show up at the end of text messages every day, now I've used emojis as a way, as a design element, as clip art, as art for my page. And I just hit done, and there it is. The emoji gets put into the page. I can click and resize, drag it around, rotate, all that fun stuff. Okay, so we can make this shark look like he's falling over here or something, right? We can have some fun with that. All right, plus button, media. The next one down is text. So with the text feature, there are some really cool things that you can do here. So if I type in Jon Smith, you can bold, italicize, underline. You can highlight the text and click link, and then you can link it to a page or a website. And if you have students who struggle with typing and writing, which most of my students did, you can actually have them click on the microphone and write with their face, right? So the speech to text is phenomenal. It does speech to text in 120 different languages. You just click the microphone, choose the language you want from the drop down, and it will remember that language the next time. So for example, if I click this, Cuando es tu cumpleaños? I hit stop, add my question mark. I know that I need another question mark in there, but then I hit done, and now I have my text, and I just used my face to write it. I've seen teachers using text to speech to do feedback for their students, right? So instead of sitting there and typing and all that stuff, you can just use your mouth. And I wish when I was a tech integration specialist, I wish some of the teachers would have done that all the time, because I see their emails, and unfortunately, they're just like kids. They can't spell, they can't type, and they don't know where the keys are. So it's kind of fun, but using the voice to, or the speech to text is a great option. From here, if I click on that text and it's outlined in blue, I can click the inspector button and I can drag and change the size. Left, center, right, justify, bold, italicize, underline, change the font, change the color, change a background if I want a background there, or add some shadow, right? And if you don't want any of that, right, you just go back in and you say, we're just gonna go plain text, no background. There we go. All right, so there's some really cool things you can do there. You cannot take a 4-page Google Doc, paste it in here and make a 4-page book. It won't work that way. But what you can do is copy and paste from Google Docs into a text box. So get into this text box, paste something in there, hit done, and then you have a nice text box. Just be very strategic with how you copy and paste the text in there. Okay? All right, that's text. And then the last one under media, and then I'll take some questions, is the record button. So with the record button, I click record, hit start recording. Again, it gives you that countdown. Hey everybody, this is my recording. I hit stop and use, and now I have a recording that I can resize, move around the screen, and use for lots of different things. I've seen teachers use the recording button for feedback on student work, student fluency, students reading their own page, sound effects, audio in the background of the page. It won't go throughout the whole book, but you can put music in the background that plays on that page. So there's a lot of possibilities with the record button, and I highly recommend that you check that out because your students are going to love using that record button. All right, Suan, how about some questions? Anything in there?
Okay, yeah, we have Sharon asking, does the drawing tool have a feature that makes it look watercolor?
Ooh, good one. So we don't have a watercolor brush, but if you go to the pen tool and you click on the brush and then maybe do some like magic ink, you can see, I mean, to me, it kind of looks watercolory, right? I kind of like the way that looks. It looks like a watercolor type of thing. So we do have that. Then some other things, and I'm learning a little bit from our graphic designer, Gavin, but if I took like a crayon and then added it on top of other things, you can get some really cool kind of design looks going on. Now, obviously, I'm not a graphic designer because then it wouldn't look like a big pile of garbage, but that gets you thinking a little bit. But we don't have a watercolor brush specifically. All right.
Thanks for that, John. Another one, I'm not sure if this is what Jessica means, but she asked if she could use with the drawing tool a like a digital pen, and instead of using the trackpad. And then she said with an interactive whiteboard. Do you know what that means?
Ooh, yeah. That's a great question. I don't have an interactive whiteboard that I've tested that on. The only thing I do have experience with in terms of pens is my iPad. So I have an Apple Pencil on my iPad. And if I choose to use the online version of Book Creator on an iPad using Safari, the pen tool does work with my Apple Pencil. So I'm going to say this with a 10% level of certainty that you probably could use a tool like an external pen, if you had an external pen and a trackpad, like a Wacom tablet or something. In terms of interactive whiteboards, I'm not 100% sure. I think that's a good question, and definitely one that we need to ask our engineering team. I'm going to say, like I said, with about 10% certainty that it would probably work. Maybe somebody else out there has tried this, and you can put that into the chat window and let us know. All right, Swan, any other questions before we move on to comics?
Last one, perhaps. Oh, are you about to move on to comics? Or have you done? Someone is asking, can you show us the comic features? So I'm guessing.
Yes, coming up right now.
Okay, yeah, let's move on to that. That's fine.
All right, so if I click the plus button, the next section is comics. And so the very first thing that pops up under comics are comic panels. So I'm just going to choose a panel style. And from here, you can click inside the panel to add photos. Now, side note, if you add a photo on top of the panel, right? So if I just like go to my desktop and find a photo and drag it into my book, it's not going to fit inside the panel. It's just going to like plop down right on top. So if you want a photo, an image to go inside the panel, then click inside of it and choose one of these two options. So if I go to my Google image search, I'm going to type in the dog image. We're going to find the deck dog. There he is. Hit select, and then that image will get added inside the panel and cropped right inside to fit perfectly. Now, if you don't like the way it sits, then you can hit the little arrows here and you can kind of move your photo up and down, zoom in and out, and just kind of get it right where you want it to be. You can also click inside there and choose your camera. So if you click the camera and hit the take picture button, say use picture, and then that gets added into the comic panel. From here, I can click the plus button. I can choose the speech bubble. I can choose the thought bubble. And again, you can resize these and move them around as you see fit. I can choose to add special comic text. So we've got 3 styles of comic text. My personal favorite here is the caption button. So if I just put the caption button and hit done, it will outline your text in a little caption. So now you can see it's really starting to come together, looking like a comic book. I can hit the plus button and I can choose stickers. So we have 2 columns of stickers that we've made for you. And then if you don't like ours, you can click the plus button and stickers, and you can choose your own style of sticker. So maybe I'll choose this style, just bring it down here. Now you can't double click inside there to type some text, but I can add some text on top. So I can just say, cool. Hit done, and now I just drag that on top. Again, you cannot group them, but you can move them independently and you can put them on the page. Then from here, if I click this outside edge, this white area, I can click the inspector button, and now I can add some comic backgrounds behind it. And so you can see it's really starting to come together, looking like a comic book. I'm going to go to a new page here. Same rule applies with just blank pages. If I click on a blank page and then click the inspector button, I can choose backgrounds. I get different colors that you can choose from. I have different paper styles. We have graph paper, small graph paper is so tiny nobody's going to use it, lined paper, college ruled, kindergarten paper, the dot game you play when you're bored at PD, the dot game you play when it's an all-day PD, and music paper. I know we need the bass clef and the grand staff, something we can work on, but there you go, some different paper styles. We have different borders you can choose from, and we have different patterns that you can choose from. So we've got shapes and polka dots and sky and night sky. And we also have different textures. My daughter calls this one unicorn paper, right? So we've got unicorn paper, chalkboard, some different things there. All right. Those are all of the features inside of a book. I want to bring your attention to this button right here. It says Pages View. So from Pages, I can see all of the different pages that are in a book. Some of these will not update in real time, so just be cautious. You don't want to grade student work from this view. But from here, I can click and drag and move images around, move pages around. If I click the 3 dots, I can make an exact copy of that page. If I click the 3 dots again, I can move a page. I can insert a page between it. And I can also delete any pages that I do not want. So if you combine student work, this is a great way to reorganize pages and get rid of all the extra pages that you don't need. Speaking of combining work, let's go out of our book and back into our library. And I want to bring your attention to these icons underneath the book. So the 3-book icon, when I click on it, you can import a book from another location. So if you had a book, maybe you started it on an iPad and you want to get it into your online account, as long as you send that book from your iPad to your computer, you can upload that book here. You can move your book from one library, from one library to a different library. You can make an exact copy of a book, which we talked a little bit about earlier, or you can combine books. So let's say you've got 30 kids, they each make a book on your shelf. I click combine. I can choose the order that I want them to be in and then hit next, give it a title, hit create book. And what it does is it takes all of those books and sucks them into one. So you have one brand new original book and you can get rid of all the extra little pieces that you don't want. And then of course you can delete a book. Underneath that book, that next to that is another icon, the share icon. So here you can publish a book. So click it one time, make sure the title is good, make sure that the author is good, and click one more time. And now that book is online and ready to be viewed only by people with the link. People are not going to be able to Google your book. You're not going to be able to search it without you knowing. So only the people who have the link have the book. The link can be found right here where it says copy public shared link. So I copy that to my virtual clipboard, just kind of goes onto your computer. And then when you go to a website, remind, newsletter, text message, email, whatever, just paste it and that link will show up. And then anybody with an internet connected device will be able to read your book. All right. And then also under there is the collaboration button, which we talked about. You can download your book as an ebook. So if you, what it does is it downloads it as an EPUB. There's not much that can read it. There's Apple Books and Book Creator, but there aren't many tools that will open that. So for me personally, always go for the online publishing. It's much easier. And then you can also print your books out. So if you want to print them out as a PDF, you can certainly do that. And then the last button I want to share with you here this morning is the settings icon up here to the top right. So if I click on the settings icon, I can rename my library. I can turn on or off Google image search. I can turn on or off students' ability to edit their own books. I can turn on or off students' ability to read other books. I can turn on or off collaboration. Now this is different than the collaboration that the teacher turns on. This allows students to turn on collaboration for their own books if you turn that feature on. And then students being able to publish their own books. So again, do you want students to willy-nilly publish their own books, or do you want control of that? That's your decision, turn that on or off. Archive your library, or you can even publish an entire library of books. So if you don't want to publish 30 individual books and get 30 different links, you can publish one library, get one link, share that out, and then anybody with that link can view any book inside that library. Okay. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, especially for younger kids, if you click on your name or your avatar up here to the top right, tells you what plan you're on, but then it also has a button that says student logins. So if you click student logins, you can print out QR codes for your students. When they scan the QR code, it takes them into Book Creator, into your library. If they don't have access to cameras, then you can click on this link and you can send the QR link to them, and they can click on the link and log themselves into Book Creator. All right, well, that was a lot in a short amount of time. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Maybe in the chat window, throw down some ideas of how you are going to be using this in your classroom in the future, whether it's physical space where we actually get to be with our students, or in the remote space, you can certainly do that. And then again, I just want to say thank you all for being here. I appreciate this. Thank you, Suwan, for helping me out with these questions. I'll stick around for a couple more minutes so that I can answer any last minute questions. But if you don't have any questions, feel free to say goodbye and, you know, have a good day. Happy bookmaking and be safe out there. But if not, let's take a look at some of these questions and see what we've got. All right, so in a Q&A box, can you show one more time getting the logins? Yes. So from the library screen, there is an icon to the top right. That's your account icon. So if you click on that and then click on where it says student logins, click that, and then you have an option. So you would have to manually enter your students here and then click print all QR badges or print the download links, and then you can send those links to your students. And then Sharon, how does one become a book creator ambassador? So if you go to our website, bookcreator.com/ambassadors, I believe, there is some stuff there that tells you a little bit about our ambassador program. We do have some things coming out that will probably revamp the ambassador program a little bit, and it usually opens up during the summer months. Elizabeth, if I'm understanding correctly, when students come into the library, they can work on a book. Yes, if you turn on collaboration, but we'll not see any that other students are working on until the books are published. Is that correct? So when students, Elizabeth, join a library, they will see whatever books the teacher has made in that library. They will not see other student books unless you turn that feature on, which would allow them to see other student books. But by default, the answer is no. They're not going to see that. Yeah, and then publishing the book only gives the link. So whoever you send that link to will then be able to see the book. All right, Sandy, I'm going to do an All About Me book to send to parents at the beginning of the school year. Love it. And I'm going to have each student create their own book to add to it throughout the school year. Absolutely. So digital portfolios, a lot of great things you can do there. What about the rights to print and share the books with all the different web contents? So yeah, Jessica, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a copyright lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, but when you do print out books, anything that you've taken video-wise is just going to be a still image, so it's not going to work entirely. So I would definitely focus on copyright images, copyright-free videos, videos that you've done yourselves or that your students have done themselves. Definitely take a look at that. And if you are worried about the different content from the different websites, then I would definitely cite your sources and make sure you do all of that stuff to make sure that you are happy with what you've got. All right, and you're welcome. All right, and again, I want to say thank you to everybody in here. I did see one more question. I just said why, and I'm not 100% sure. Maybe that was in response to something else. Free books, up to 40 books, one library. Start with the free program and go from there. I just signed up for a 7-day trial, and this is the first exposure. What do I do? So Barbara, just get in there and play around and think about different things that you could do. I'm not sure exactly what question you were asking. I'm more than happy to answer it for you. If you could retype that question, we'll go ahead and get that in there. Or if you put it in the Q&A box, sometimes the panel goes so far. The panel selection or the panel section of comics. Okay, what is your specific question about the panel section? Okay, so you probably don't have the option for panels. It's because when you clicked on create new book, you chose one at the top. Those ones do not have the panel sections. Those are just standard books without comics. So if you want the comic panels, you're gonna have to choose one of these standard books. So what I would do is just back out of your book completely, click new book, and then choose one of the comic book options, and then you will get it. And yes, like Xuan says, the 90-day, you have it, but you cannot see what you choose. So like when you click, so when you click inside the book and you click the plus button, you see the panels. When you click the panel button, you don't see any of these choices. It's just blank. That's a good question. I would email support@bookcreator.com, and it may be that your browser needs updated, or it might be that there's something buggy with the browser that you're using. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so if you email support@bookcreator.com, we can reach out to our engineering team and see what's going on exactly with that. I'm not 100% sure. I've never had that happen before. All right, and I think we got a couple more questions here. Cody, says Cody or Gody? Gody, can I hide a sound icon? That's a great question, and the answer to that is yes. So if you go into your book and I click on the plus button and media record, and I go to add a sound, let me show you what you can do here. Again, it gives you a little countdown. Check, check, check. Mic, mic, mic. There we go. Now I've got a sound button. So a couple ways you can do this. Personally, I like to add an image, right? So if I add an image, we'll go back here and we'll do our standard dog choice. Add the image in, hit select. All right, so now I've got this dog. And what I can do is resize the dog, put him over here. And then I can take this sound button and I can make it right here. And if I click the I button, it will say make invisible while reading. And so now I can resize that sound file to fit exactly over the image of this dog. And when I do that, then when I click the play button, the book in play mode, the sound is there. So when I click on the dog, you know what I have to do? Sorry, hold on a second. I need to move the dog to the back. There's the sound button. Now it's on top. And so when I go to the play button, I click on it. Check, check, check. Mic, mic, mic. Okay. So that's one way that you can hide the sound buttons. All right. Well, I think we are all out of questions for right now. Again, thank you, Swan, for helping me. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and shut this thing down. Don't forget that the video will be on our YouTube channel probably in the next 20, 30, 40 minutes or so. And you can look at it whenever you like. So thanks again. Have a great day. Happy bookmaking, everybody. I'm going to stop the sharing. I'm going to say goodbye to all the YouTube friends. Goodbye, YouTube friends. And say goodbye to everybody else. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.